All right, let me see. Where is... There it is. There it is. All right, so...
ending on a heavy note.
All right, so fair warning. What you are about to see...
Viewer discretion advised.
Viewer discretion advised. This is the body cam footage of the police shooting of Quandry Sanders, and this happened in Lawton, Oklahoma, and it happened only a few days ago.
And let's just be clear. Prior to the arrival, the police were called for a witness who said there was a black man standing in the driveway waving a gun around. The police did not bother to investigate the woman for her claims. Instead, they showed up in force and demanded people out of this house. And what you'll see and what you'll hear is people on the police PA saying, "Come out, you need to meet us outside," and the rest is...
Come out wherever you are.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Here we go. I've never seen this, so first time. My reaction did.
It'll be real.
Hands! Down!
What?
Wait.
Down! Hands!
Oh my God, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah. Put your hands up. That's all you had to do. Oh, wait, he did that.
He put his hand... Holy shit.
Well, first of all, he walked around the corner doing what he was told to do and then got met with a guy with a gun pointed at his head. So, yeah, I'd walk behind a little bit of cover, too.
Dude. I'm really...
This is why I hate the police in America. Cops, on an individual, I bet they're good people. But the police in America are ruined.
I hope that this cop
He's already been
goes
arrested.
to jail forever.
He's been arrested and charged with manslaughter, and there's a couple other ancillary charges that are tied to the manslaughter.
Manslaughter is not accurate. This is murder.
Yeah, well, and they're not pushing the race card. Do you know why?
Is the cop black?
Yeah. Now, what about the person?
Is that why it's not all over the news?
Well, yeah, and it's been a little bit tucked under the, the blankets of what's going on. The woman, I believe, made a false statement knowingly to cause a police response. So should she be?
She should absolutely.
For murder.
Oh, I would say she should be, out of the two, I would think the police officer should be going to trial for murder, and she should be going to trial for some sort of negligent homicide, which would also...
She pretty much swatted him and got him killed.
Yeah.
So
hey, Tim Pool, this is what they've been trying to do to you.
Yeah. As we just saw him get shot, and then he was writhing on the ground with gunshot wounds to his chest.
And then tried to put his hands up when they told him to.
He was holding his chest because he had holes in it, and he was in excruciating pain like any human would. And then he even sat up and put his hands up and got shot more times.
Yeah, when the cop was telling him to put his hands up.
Yes.
He literally, even after being shot, he tried to follow the police officer's instructions and then got shot again.
And here's the part that's really hard to watch is the lack of human compassion, empathy, understanding what the hell just happened. They literally let him lay face down and then drag his bloody body across the pavement and then allow him to exsanguinate over 7 minutes while he struggles to breathe and bleed to death.
At what point did they call medical?
None, and they didn't offer
They
any.
didn't?
They didn't offer any aid to him whatsoever. They kept him face down in handcuffs, and while he was handcuffed, they told him to stop resisting.
Get the... All right, I'm gonna play it again. I stopped this because that was a lot. That was a lot already.
So I watched it for the first time. My wife was standing next to me, and I had your exact reaction. She was like, "Oh my God, what is it?" And I was like, "I got to show you this." And she was like, "They just killed that guy."
This is... I literally didn't make it more than 20 seconds into this video, and I'm...
Yeah, it's a tough one, man.
I don't even know. Like, there's... Listen, I mean, you can say all day that police have a stressful job, and sure they do.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't have the mental strength to do the job without having essentially jumping and, having like a jump scare reaction and shooting people dead, then don't be a police officer. Like, you can't do it. The difference between a police officer and the regular citizen is you're showing up with a gun. You already know you have it, and you have body armor on. And you've got the flashing lights. You've got that.
You got extra people. You got extra weapons.
And if you don't think you're safe, then you're not supposed to go over there. Like, I don't know. Like,
so Alex, if we were standing watch at an entry control point in Iraq, right? And some guy was like hiding behind the HESCO barriers, and he popped out real quick, and you lit him up after you told him to put his hands up, and he puts his hands up, and you shot him real quick, what would happen to you?
I would get destroyed by my command.
Yeah, you'd go to the brig.
Yeah.
You'd be dishonorably discharged and spend 10 years in prison.
They would do nothing to protect me. That's for sure.
No, and these guys get full exercise of protection for just terribleness.
So I guess the what do they call the immunity that police get?
Qualified immunity.
I'm all for qualified immunity going on.
Oh yeah, I am too.
I mean, I'm okay
because
with
it gives the legal doctrine. It allows them to have. Well, I mean, a cop doesn't know all the laws, but a reasonable person would think they understood it.
So if a cop is trying to enforce a law,
he needs to know it.
He needs to know it. If the cop does not know the law,
he can't charge you.
He should not be trying to enforce it. And you see this all day long with all those First Amendment auditor videos and stuff. You see police officers don't know shit about their job.
And what's the first thing they do when they become police officers? I swear to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.
And then that's the last thing they do.
What's the Third Amendment? I don't know. You might want to study the 10.
That's the quartering,
10.
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a quarter. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah, it's the one you need. You just need to know the 10.
It's an
Cut this shit.
Yeah. Now I don't pretend to hate all cops.
No, we work with them.
Yeah,
they're good people.
And literally all the cops that I work with are great. I haven't seen them in situations like this. I've seen police in certain situations where they want me to force people to go to a hospital, and I'm like, nope,
sign here, sir.
This person's answering all their questions appropriately. This person can make decisions for themselves. They're not a threat to themselves or others. I'm not trampling on their rights. I just got into an argument with a medic about this.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because we signed someone off. I don't know. I can't go into a lot of detail, right? So we signed someone off, and then only a few hours later, that person tried to do something bad to themselves.
Okay.
But when we signed that person off, everything was fine.
They weren't a threat to themselves or others. They knew what was going on.
Exactly. So when we were at the hospital with a different patient, that one came, and then a medic started, trying to chew me out, saying, how dare you do that? This and that. I literally had to look at a medic and be like, you weren't fucking there.
Yeah, shut your mouth.
Like, what the hell you got to say about this shit?
No shit.
I'm like, first of all, nothing about my license, nothing about what I do gives me the authority to strip people of their constitutional rights.
None.
And if a person tells me that they're not under the influence, if they tell me that they're not a threat to themselves or others, I can't make a judgment. It's literally, I'm not allowed to judge.
Especially if they can prove that too.
So if that person decided to then shortly after go and do all the horrible things that they said they wouldn't do,
that's another person's problem, not mine.
That's their decision.
Yep.
But I literally had to get into a friggin' debate about this with a medic trying to tell me that that what I did was wrong. And I'm like, yeah, you can go kick rocks.
Yeah, bro. You can take that disco patch and shove it.
And they literally, they pulled the pin and started walking away. And as we're trying to answer,
hey, get back here, right?
Yeah, they talked a bunch of shit and then started walking away. And we're like, oh, you're gonna talk shit and then leave as we're trying to explain ourselves to you? Like, F you,
yeah, F you brick.
And all of a sudden, they come back and eventually, they cower down and they're like, oh well. Then it was the police's fault. I was like, sure,
why are
not
we blaming
really.
People? Yeah.
Why? I don't know the desire to blame. All right, let's get back to this.
Do you want to go from a little bit when it happened, or we're going to keep going?
No, we'll start again.
Yeah, it's just.
Hands! Down! 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 Hands! 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 Quit racing! Quit racing! Quit racing!
Down!
I'm down.
Stay down!
I'm down. Roll over!
Hey.
Roll over!
I'm down.
Roll over!
Roll over on your stomach!
I can't breathe.
Stomach! Hey, can you see this door?
I can't.
Okay.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Hey, we got
Dude, I can't stand this.
Go ahead.
We're gonna pull him back. Go ahead.
Get the door. I got him.
Okay. Go pull him out the yard. Yep. Pull him out the yard. Go ahead. Pull him out.
Got him.
Yep. Go ahead. Move him forward. Keep going back.
Yep. I got cuffs.
They really just dragged him.
Yep. Now we got to cuff him. Got
Do you hear
holes
his
all through.
breathing, dude? That's like agonal
Oh
breathing.
yeah, he's dying. He's dying,
Nico, you got him?
Yep, I got him.
and he doesn't die very quickly either. You can see it pouring out of him.
If you're in here, come outside. Put your hands up. Come out slowly. One police officer.
Really glad they're rendering aid and some pressure dressings on him.
Keep your hand out to us. Are you the husband? All right, step out to us, sir. Step out to us.
Quit moving, quit moving.
Quit moving. See that? See that? Quit moving.
Quit reaching.
What
Quit
threat?
reaching. Quit
what
reaching.
threat do they think he is
fucking
at this
kidding me?
point?
Quit reaching. Fuck you.
You and I both know that he is not having. He doesn't have the wherewithal mentally right now.
But yeah,
He's not thinking about fighting anyone.
He's hypovolemic and hypoxic at this time. Jesus. No, just that pressure on his arms really helping him.
They just fucking murdered this guy.
And
Dude.
let him die.
This is for educational purposes, YouTube and Facebook, to show anyone who doesn't believe.
I have nothing to.
Okay. Where's the shot at?
Of course, you have nothing. He wasn't armed.
Where you shot?
Where were you shot?
76, 77, 1018.
I ain't got. There's nothing but turn. There's nothing but. It's all pot.
Let's put some pressure on
Keep him on the side. Come here, give me some gloves. Give me some gloves.
I got you.
Gloves.
Here.
Get back.
I'm surprised they didn't shoot his fucking
It
dog.
looks like they were about to.
Where's it taking? Where's it at?
It's all body. It's
It's
all
all.
body.
He's got LT.
How many?
Hey, roll him on the side. He's starting.
LT's gonna be multiples.
1,
Yeah.
2, in and out.
I see at least 4 or 5.
Yeah.
4, 5.
Clear the house.
Okay.
Well, the good thing is to stop bleeding.
Hey, no, we can do LT. We got chest here.
77, 1018. Multiple chest wounds.
Dude, Kevin, I don't know.
It's
This
okay.
is.
Be quiet. Thank you.
I want him rolled to his back side. Keep him all the way. All the way on his back. All on his back. What's your name, bro? What's your name? What's your name?
Are you serious?
I want.
Dude, the guy is not going to talk to you. He
Can't
was
even
already
put
doing
gloves on.
agonal breathing. He literally was not having
Swelling.
cognizant brain function at this point.
3.
He's completely hypoxic.
Okay.
Hypovolemic too.
Yeah.
There's no blood-brain barrier being,
Hey, tell him.
nutrients going back and
Get up
forth.
here. Hey, Nathan, where you at?
I'm right here.
Trauma kit. Trauma kit.
Let me see what we got.
We got breathing.
I don't know how much should I watch anymore.
No. So
I
these
can't
guys aren't
watch
even.
any more of
So
that,
they're
dude.
going to give them a badge and a gun, and then they have no skills to know what to do if they ever have to use that gun. Clearly,
Dude, I'm pretty upset right now. Like
yeah. It was
that was harder.
shocked.
That was harder to watch than Amir Locke.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was very obviously. Now, I get that he ducked behind the fridge, right? I understand that they could use that to explain why they did what they did. But based on what I saw, there was no real justification.
I saw him take what I think he had
Looked like he had a hat in his
ball
hand or
cap and his
something.
white ball cap, and he moved it from hand to hand, back and forth. Obviously, there's no gun in it. Whew, that's a brutal one.
This is so we've been pretty consistent, right? We've covered a lot of these shootings. It doesn't matter the race of anyone involved.
Nope.
Really, all that matters is that you understand that, you know, these, whether it be police officers or what have you, people are, it's almost exclusively police officers that are, what's the saying? They have the monopoly on violence. The
Yeah,
government.
monopoly of force. Yeah.
So our government has the monopoly on violence.
Because
and
if you or I did that as a private citizen, we'd be in jail for murder. He gets manslaughter, we'll be out in 5 years.
Yeah, and I mean, you just watched the video, Kevin, and exactly no words.
None.
There's no way to describe. Literally, that was the first time I'd seen it, and I had to pause it very quickly because it was just too. It was a lot.
Yeah.
That was immediately this guy being Quandry Sanders. You know, you see that his hands are not. He doesn't have a weapon. He's not presenting as violent.
And he's following commands to come outside.
And he was following commands, and then they point a weapon at him.
Well, remember, the guy took cover behind something and then flashed his light at him with a handgun pointed at him. He was like, "Whoa!"
And then, what really throws it next level, like
when he's down,
they've already shot him like 4 times, and then they tell him hands up, hands up. He literally pops up with his hands up,
gets 6
and they
more rounds.
fucking shot him a bunch more times.
It's actually one cop did the shooting, and it was that cop's on the badge cam we were watching.
That is, I'm amazed. I am amazed that they released this footage.
They had to because it was that egregious. And of course, the department is going to throw that officer to the wolves, and that'll be the end of it. You know, and the town will get sued, and a bunch of money will go out. But none of this needed to happen. And what happens to the person that made the false claim that there was a guy running around with a gun?
Yeah, that's a big what if, you know, or what will happen. I mean, I imagine that, you know, if you're going to treat it fairly, if somebody's calling in a fake call and it leads to the death of someone, I think, put it this way, if you're going to charge the cameraman in the Ahmaud Arbery case with murder, then you should charge the person who made this fake phone call with murder.
Yep.
I guess that's where I would leave it.
As well.
That's where I would leave it, because and if anything, the cameraman in that case had less to do with it, because the cameraman was just there.
So, Alex, we've seen this a bunch of times with a bunch of cops and a bunch of other breakdowns. What can we do to prevent this from happening?
You have to remove authority from police officers. You got to take some. I don't know.
Is it a better screening process? Is it, I don't know, a better like psychological evaluation of the cop? Because that was way too. Like, just getting after it way too fast. So
it makes you wonder, is this cop, is he a coward? Because, right. I mean, his response was, like, scared shitless.
Lethal force right away. And he was tense before the guy even came out. And the guy was coming out with something in his hand. You didn't shoot him then.
You already saw his hands and saw that there wasn't a weapon.
Let's break it down real quick, right? He steps out.
Yeah.
And there's 2 cops facing him directly in line of sight.
Yeah.
Him, the third cop, is off to the right on the driveway, and he assumes cover, fine. But then he kind of pies out a little bit and only gets a glimpse of the target.
Yeah.
The other 2 officers are facing straight ahead, can see him, you know, front face. He's not bladed away. They don't shoot.
Yeah.
And then here you are just gunning him down. Not good.
Yeah. No, Eric, this is... So, Eric, I don't know if you saw some of our earlier videos, but we've shown a couple of these. A lot of them are no-knock raids. This is, I think, the first no-knock raid shooting that we've covered.
Like a direct call.
But this one is just more, I think this might be more egregious.
This is the worst one.
All of them were bad. None of them could be justified. There's no way. But this one, you know, we watched the cop. You're watching his camera. Now, mind you, on his body camera, you're seeing less perspective. So the fact that we're seeing it that clearly,
it's a good
in real life, he's seeing it even more clearly.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So what we see is grainy footage. He's seeing in real life. He's seeing the hat very clearly, the khaki-colored looking hat or whatever in real life, and the empty hand on the other side. This is absurd. And then to shoot him down, multiple shots, knock him down on the ground. The guy is now bleeding out.
In terrible pain.
And you, from that close, if you're a trained shooter, you know, with a handgun, which every cop is, you know, especially that close, you know he didn't miss. So this cop knows that he just put several holes in this man, and now he's on the ground writhing in pain. You tell him to put his hands up, and he literally complies, which is insane. I would never expect someone to comply once they've already been shot like 4 or 5 times.
Nope.
Because most people won't have it in them. Like the fact that Quandry Sanders popped up to put his hands up, and it was obvious. I mean, his hands were straight up, and then gets lit up again. How do you stop that? How do you prevent? What do you do? Like, what do you think we do?
I don't know, man.
I mean, dude, that was. I'm kind of upset that. I'm kind of upset that you hit me with that at the end. I'm really not okay.
I warned you.
You did say
but
it was bad.
The officer that did this, He has been arrested. He has been charged with malice of manslaughter.
Should be murder.
Should be. It's not going to be. I don't know what's happening to the reporting party that made the false call.
Should also be murder.
Just to be clear, there was no weapon found on him. There was no weapons in the house. The police didn't even do an investigation before they brought force. They just said, oh, okay, they got guns, let's wrap them up. And that's what you got. You got guys coming in at a 10 when they should have just knocked on the door and said, like, hey, we got a call from your crazy-ass neighbor across the street saying you're running around with a gun. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Don't do that. God forbid you do a fucking investigation as a cop.
So this might not have been a no-knock raid, but this is the reason why no-knock raids are not okay. Because if you don't know that the police are coming through and you make any sudden movements because someone just broke in your door,
you're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead.
No-knock raids do nothing to further investigations. All they do is lead to murder at the hands of police officers that they get to justify as some sort of defense of their own safety, when in reality, they broke into the sanctity of your home and murdered you.
Yeah.
And
God bless America.
This
right?
guy, was he on his own property?
Yes.
So what is there's some sort of porch law.
The castle doctrine?
No, not the castle. It's probably a portion of the castle doctrine, but there's your front porch is considered a part of your domicile. It's considered protected.
It's like inside your house.
Yeah, so police officers, if they come up onto your porch, they can do a knock like a regular person would.
And then have to step off.
And if you say they are not welcome and they have to leave, they have to leave. They don't have any right to be there. So they've violated this guy's rights on top of then murdering him, and all because of some false call.
Yeah.
And it's not a racial thing. It's not. It's just police being quick to pull the trigger, because the police officer and the victim were both black. It's not. It's not a racial thing. This is absurd. All right. I guess, you know what? I think, oh man,
that's a tough one to end on.
That's a tough. You don't want to end like that. You'd like to end on a better note. I guess I'll say this. Pay attention to the way that you're voting. Pay attention to the bills and, kind of the direction that your representatives are going, because you want to make sure that we can limit this kind of action and the consequences thereof from happening. It doesn't matter, this happened in Oklahoma, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen in New Hampshire. It doesn't mean it couldn't happen in Massachusetts or Maine, up in the New England area, which is where we are. So just pay attention, people need to have the sanctity of their homes need to be protected. Your rights need to be protected. And you shouldn't be allowed to have your privacy violated because of a random phone call.
No,
that's
unsubstantiated and unwarranted.
Yeah. So
could you imagine if someone could just make a phone call and they're like, all right, you got to come with us until we figure it out. No, that's not how this works.
And that's the reason why I brought up that call that I was on, where I refuse to violate somebody's rights and try to force them to go to the hospital when they're not making any claims or anything that makes them
right in the back
psychologically
of your head,
unstable.
Right in the back of your head, like, all right, we could drive away, and this guy could be like,
yeah,
and you're like, oh well.
So I guess the moral of the story of all of this is the police department and all that is the police force is a socialist concept. And it's doing what socialism and communism does.
Democide.
Fucking killing people. Roe versus Wade is just a talking point that's been conjured up right now for midterm support, because they don't want to talk about what's really going on in our country and our economy, because that would mean that nobody votes Democrat right now.
Ever again.
Ever again. And for anyone paying attention, you know that the food supply is... It might not be under attack. Let's, be fair, and I'll say maybe it's not under attack, but it sure looks like it's under attack.
It's not doing well. It's going up in flames.
It's going up in flames, whether it's being burned to the ground by, quote, natural causes or being crashed into by planes.
Not intentional, though.
Not intentionally. The food supply is burning to the ground.
Yeah.
So get yourself some storable foods for the sake of just having them. If you don't need them, great. Great. Stand firm against communism. So pay attention to, what's really going on. And, you know what? Just protect yourself and your family. That's really all I got to say. Semper Fallace.
Semper Fallace. We're always dick. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Rumble, Bumble.
Yeah.
Everything. Oh,
Yeah.
we're on Truth, too.
Yeah, we're on Truth Social. We got on Truth Social just so we could try to interact with Trump. And I tried, and he didn't interact. So probably just going to – there's not a lot of action on Truth. So anyway, hey, guys, like, share, comment. You guys already commented. But please share this. And, pay attention, and we'll see you next week. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Stay dicked.
Stay dicked.